Welcome to Podcast 360, powered by the Podcast Academy. In 3 questions answered in 60 seconds each, you'll experience a 360-degree view of podcasting from a lineup of industry experts. The hosts of your favorite podcasts will take turns interviewing each other, creating a chain of podcast knowledge and perspective. There we go. Let's meet our industry experts. Today's host is...
Hey, I'm Justin Richmond, host of the Broken Record Podcast. You heard me last week when I was interviewed by Sequoia Holmes, host of Black People Love Paramore.
And who is our guest this week?
My name is Paddy Hirsch. I'm a journeyman journalist and host. I'm a co-host on the Planet Money Indicator at NPR. I'm also the host of a number of independent podcasts, too many to list.
First, the game before the game. We ask our guests to share 2 truths and a lie. Our host will guess which is the lie, and we'll find out the answer together at the end of our conversation. Let's play Podcast 360.
Here we go. Paddy, listen, man, I've owed you a call for so long, and so when I got roped into this, I figured, why have a phone call when we could have a conversation here? You know?
Like a real conversation as opposed to the conversations we usually have, which are about nothing, frankly.
Those usually don't go anywhere. Listen, this is 360. We always kick off with a round of 2 truths and a lie. So, Paddy, why don't you give me the 3 things about you, and let me see if I can figure out which one's the lie.
3 things about me. Okay, well, firstly, I am so handy that to make my home audio setup from which I'm speaking to you now, I ripped the equipment out of the half bath in my house, which means that I am right now talking to you from a toilet. Secondly, I am so old school that in my first job in radio, my tools were not a keyboard and a mouse and a software program, but a razor blade and a roll of Scotch tape. Thirdly, I am such a radiohead that I have a tattoo of a radio mic on my left shoulder. And not just any radio mic. I'm talking about the RCA 77DX ribbon microphone used by Elvis Presley, Little Richard, Johnny Cash, and Aretha Franklin.
Wow.
It's a piece of history on my body, my friend.
Or is it? I don't know. I've never seen you shirtless, which is so...
Which is probably a good thing.
Probably for the best.
Is my wife listening to this podcast?
I don't know. Eileen might feel weird about that. So, I think I got a sense. I think I know. I think I know which one. I have an instinct. I'm actually not going to go with my first instinct. My first instinct was that the tattoo was a lie. But okay. I don't think you're old enough to have started in radio cutting tape. And by the way, this will get to one of my questions. Like, radio was not your first thing. Audio was not, journalism was not your first gig. So
true.
You know.
So you're going for the lie is that I did not cut tape in the old school way with razor blades and Scotch tape.
Correct.
Okay, well, we will circle
and
back later.
And not as some odd craft as a kid or something. I'm talking about like you didn't do that in a professional setting. I think that's what I'm going to go with for now.
An odd craft is, so hang on a second. This is telling me something about your childhood. If you were messing around with tape and Scotch tape and razor blades. Actually, let's not childhood razor blades. No.
There's some fire mixed in there.
Let's move on.
All kinds of destructive forces. Paddy, look, man, I've known you a long time, and we've had a number of conversations, but there's things that I don't know about you. There's things that I'm always keen to see if you've changed your mind about. And so, but one of the things, I've talked with you a bit about your military career prior to going into journalism, but I've never asked you how it felt moving from that is a wild career change from being a military man in the UK to cutting tape, maybe with a razor blade. So like, how did you process that change?
Well, we should probably let the audience know that my first career was actually as a Royal Marines officer in the UK. And yeah, how did I make that transition? Well, I've got to say, it wasn't easy. I mean, I found out that I wanted to be in journalism whenever I was based in Kuwait during the first Gulf War, and I met a bunch of journalists, and they seemed like they were having a better time than I was having. So I was like, I think I want to be a journalist. And so I worked in various parts of the broadcast and writing businesses, and I ended up actually in television, which was fun. But what I really found was that, audio was a much better way of connecting with audiences, and I've decided that that was really, really where I wanted to end up. And you just find a good mentor who can teach you the things, and then you just sort of hit the streets, start wearing the shoe leather right and getting yourself a job. And I was lucky that people were hiring at that point, got myself a job relatively early on, and the rest is history. I've been in audio ever since.
It's still it's just a wild dichotomy to me from the military to this.
Yeah, I can't say it was an easy transition, but you've just got to work hard like anything else.
Well, that you've always done. You have a podcast, new podcast called Evolving Money, all about cryptocurrency, which I've listened to. Immediately after listening, I started looking at my accounts, wondering, what money I could afford to move over to crypto. Point blank.
Looking at your Robinhood account, Justin, we talked about that Robinhood account.
Well, we're gonna get to that next. Point blank. Should I jump into the crypto market?
All right. So anyone who listens to this podcast, Evolving Money, will learn that I am a crypto skeptic, but I am blockchain curious. Okay, there's a real difference there. There's the technology that underlines cryptocurrency, then there's the cryptocurrency itself. And I think the technology underlying cryptocurrency is very, very exciting. Cryptocurrency itself, the blockchains, the Ethereums, the this and the that, the NFTs and all the rest of it, I think that's a little bit junky. I would be very, very careful about that. I would say that if you want to invest in something like that, if you want to take a bit of a risk, sure, go and do it, but make it a very small percentage of your portfolio and be prepared to lose it, because that stuff is so volatile, it goes up and down so quickly that it's very, very likely that you will lose your shirt, your crypto shirt, if you decide to buy one and put one on. So sure, go ahead, but don't make it money that you really need to have around. Make it very, very speculative and make yourself aware that you're being speculative.
Okay, I'm a little deflated.
I popped your bubble.
I'm a little deflated. Okay, see, a long time ago, Paddy, you told me not to put any money into the stock market. You told me I was better off just putting my money into a savings account.
That's not quite
true.
Well,
that's
Justin.
My memory of it. And listen,
no, that's
as
not quite true.
inflation has creeped up and up and up, I've been wondering, have you changed your mind? But you're telling me it's not true. So tell me, what is your position on whether I myself and the people listening, but speak just to me because I need this advice, should I be keeping my money in a savings account, high yield, or should I be investing my money into the stock market?
Well, look, you should certainly be taking advantage of higher interest rates, right? I mean, I'm in a CD that's paying, or I'm in an account in the UK that's paying 5% and is soon going to go up to 7%. Okay, we haven't seen these savings rates paying out that kind of money in decades, like well over a decade. So I would say, definitely take advantage of some of those opportunities. On the other hand, the stock market's doing very well, especially in the United States, and who knows what's going to happen after the election. But there's no harm in investing in stocks. I would say that the advice that I gave you was not to invest in individual stocks through Robinhood. And if you were going to invest your money, use mutual funds through your 401k plan. That was the specific advice. So it was really, my advice to you was not to gamble and speculate in individual stocks necessarily. If you're going to do that, again, you put a little bit of money aside to play with, but it's something that, you want to just be quite careful with, because the chances are you could lose a lot of your money. So you just have to diversify.
You always give sound financial advice. It's never fun.
I'm not an advisor.
It's never fun.
I'm not an advisor. This should not be considered advice. Okay, this is
advice
my
for me.
Opinion.
Listen. Listeners, do what you want to do. I always listen to Paddy Hirsch. Whatever he says, I do. Although, except for when I invested in AMC through Robinhood, that was a bad move.
And you did listen to me when you left the job that we were both working at, and I think that was a really good decision that you made, because otherwise you wouldn't be here behind a mic the way you are now. I mean, an exceptionally successful and very, very charismatic host.
That's right. I do have you to thank for helping me work through that decision.
Podcast 360 will be back in just a moment. And we're back with Podcast 360.
Thanks so much for playing. That was a great round. I now know what my charge is for my financial future.
Good.
Now, I want to return to the 3 truths and a lie. I want to take another stab at guessing. I actually think that the microphone is a lie.
You think the microphone is a lie?
Yeah.
That microphone.
I think the
Aretha Franklin microphone.
The Aretha mic.
Really?
Yeah.
The RCA 77DX ribbon.
Yeah.
You think that's a lie? You think I don't have one on my shoulder? So we're on video right now. The listeners obviously can't see us, but I'm. Oh. I can. Do you want to see it?
Please. This is a new milestone in our friendship. Let me see.
Okay, well, there is no microphone.
Oh, come on. Listen. What about
my body is a temple, Justin. You know that. I would never sully my body with ink.
Man.
Even though the prospect of having Aretha Franklin's microphone on my left shoulder is compelling, I would not do that.
it would have been immensely cool if you did have it. I got to say, if you had a tattoo, that would have been a cool one to get. You kind of threw me with the detail on who used them, the Cash and Aretha, and I feel like but I'm glad I
wouldn't like. I'm not going to say that you're the kind of person who's confused by details. I'm not going to say that. That's very mean. Please let's edit that out. That's not. I didn't.
Oh,
mean
no,
that to come
it's
across
fine.
That way.
No.
You know,
Leave it in.
Leave it in. I love Justin.
Leave it in. Paddy, it's been great talking to you. We got to catch up in the real world soon, man.
Yeah, what a pleasure. Such fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Podcast 360, where you experience a 360-degree view of podcasting. Special thanks to the Podcast Academy and DCP Entertainment. Follow us on social media at The Ambies and at DCP Official on Instagram. And subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so that you never miss an episode.